Clint is a Lutheran pastor who was very proud to share recently on social media that he is not going to preach Jesus' word anymore because he doesn't agree with it. Here's his lengthy post on preaching on Matthew 28:18-20, the Great Commission passages, go and make disciples of all nations. But Pastor Clint says that these are not Jesus' words anymore. He's determined it, and I'm not going to do any discipling. His life isn't good enough yet for him to go and help others. And as a Lutheran pastor, he's decided to tell people, I'm not going to tell you what Jesus says, but what Clint says. Now, you would think that they would fire him, but they didn't. I mean, imagine if your doctor said, I know what you need to hear, but I'm not going to tell you because I don't believe it. Or your mechanic says, I know your brake pads need to be fixed, but I don't think that's what you need to hear, so I'm not going to tell you. You'd fire your doctor, you'd fire your mechanic, you'd fire anyone who doesn't tell you what you need to hear. And yet he thinks, and many believe, now just tell me what I determine to be right. As a Lutheran pastor, we're supposed to speak what God says, and you should fire me if I don't. And yet so much in our society is not what I need to hear, but what I want to hear. Psalm 141, O Lord, I call to you, come quickly to me. Hear my voice when I call to you. When I need forgiveness for my sins, I cannot call Clint. He can't forgive me my sins. When I need to know that heaven's my own, even though I feel horrible about what I've done, or I just feel like I've had a bad day, Clint can't do that for me either. If you decide, like Clint, to say, you know what, I'm going to decide what's right or wrong, well, then you have to be God. But you're not. You're not able to provide forgiveness of my sins. I'm not able to provide myself a sure home in heaven. I'm not able, as a Pharisee would, to say this doesn't apply anymore. No, I actually need God to hear me, to listen to me, to answer me, to help me, to provide for me. And any pastor, any preacher, any podcaster, any book author, anybody who says, God says that, but don't worry, listen to me, they're saying they're God then. No, I need God, the only one and only true and triune God. I need him to answer, him to call, him to forgive, him to save. And if someone's not going to tell me what God says, I'm going to fire them and find someone who will.